Welcome back to the TATOINE Hangar. This is Mike. I'm coming at you with another video, and this time I want to talk to you about collecting. And collecting is not a competition. And I've invited my friend Trey. Hey, Trey.
Hey.
Do you think collecting is competitive?
Yes.
And why would you say that?
Because me and you are competitive.
So the reason I invited him is probably like out of most of my friends, we're probably the most competitive with each other. But the reality of it is, it really isn't a competition. You collect what you like. Our collections are vastly different, aren't they?
They are.
And so, in the end, there really is no competition. We both got stuff we liked. I have a lot of things he would never even touch, and he's got things that I would never want to spend that amount of money on. And so, they're way different. But I'm going to break this down into 6 different categories and discuss it. But this could go towards shoes, if you're collecting shoes, cars, video game systems, baseball cards, stamps, books, shot glasses, plates, cologne bottles, knives, jerseys, hats, beer glasses, or anything else that you collect. I mean, it just can get competitive. And so with that, we're going to start off with my first one, collection envy. What do you think about collection envy, Trey?
It's out there.
Oh, it's out there?
I don't really have collecting envy.
Yeah, but do you see that in other people when they come see your collection?
They do. Their jaws drop, especially at your house too. I mean, you know, people don't have the excess money you and I have to do this kind of thing.
Well, you know, and we'll get in probably into later on. Probably the last point talks about kind of how I can fund further collecting. But with that, I've noticed Trey's a philanthropist, and he actually motivated me to finish my collection. I kind of got to a certain point and just quit with having kids and responsibility and all that. And then and just thinking that everything's way out of my price range, and he showed me, no, it's not. You actually can find this stuff for a better price. And what was it? You gave me a figure that that motivated me to get the last 17 of Star Wars. Which one was that?
The Luke Stormtrooper?
Yes, you did. You gave me my first Luke Stormtrooper, which my first of how many? Like now it's 6 or 7.
Well, I don't know how many you got. 10, 12.
Nah, I got like 6 and bought them in collections and stuff like that. But he was like, "Oh, this one in this kind of yellow, so you can have it." And I don't know very many people that are like that would just do something like that. And I was envious of his collection because it was pretty complete when I met him, and yet he just gave me a very expensive figure that's pretty rare and hard to come by. So that's pretty impressive. And the next point, you don't have to buy everything and be a completist. So with the modern line, well, what do you think about somebody that's trying to be a completist with a modern 1995 to now?
I wouldn't bother. I mean, unless that's what they want to do. I mean, you'll never get done. They're just going to keep pumping it out. In the 80s, I was wondering in my teens when they were going to stop making, Return of the Jedi figures, because I was just burnt out on buying it. I mean, like, it's an endless thing, I thought. And I was only like 12 figures short of,
So when you were back then, you had gotten 2 of the last 17. Which one were those?
The Gunner and Han and Carbonite.
So, are you happy about the fact you picked those up back then? And
now I am. I wish I would have gotten the rest back then, but I just had stopped. I mean, I wasn't into toys anymore. I was into girls.
Well, I kind of feel the same way, and I'm a little bit younger than Trey. And so when Star Wars kind of died off, I just got into Joe and some other lines that really he didn't get into. So we kind of, that's kind of where the line stops with him. And I kind of, with my collection envy, I envy people. Well, we're talking about not keeping a completionist, but with that, I envy the fact that he can collect one thing, which is Star Wars. And I collect all the different lines. But being a completionist back then, I gave up on Star Wars because I didn't know when it was going to end, and they're going to keep putting out new figures, and you get an Obi-Wan in a 4th style packaging, and I got sick of seeing that. Did you get sick of seeing that yourself?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And with that, a completionist, do you have to have every different card back, or are you okay with just one card back of like a figure on any random card back?
I'm more of a, when it came out on the exact card it came out on, I mean, I don't care if it's A-B card as long as it's the original card back.
So if Obi-Wan was on a 12 back, you want him on a 12 back, but you wouldn't want him on the Power of the Force card at all.
Correct. I mean, that's just because that's the way I bought them as a kid. I mean, that's the only reason I want them to collect, because I bought them as they came out.
Do you view yourself as a vintage completionist?
Yes.
Do you think that as a vintage completionist that you have every coin that they made in the Power of the Force line, even the figures that weren't the last 17?
No.
Is that something you care to even go after?
No.
So that makes you not a completionist.
I guess so.
And which I'm not going after those myself. Although if I see one in the wild, I'll pick it up. So my number third point is keeping up with the Joneses. And with this, this can be looked at in a lot of different ways. And I can tell you that I had collector envy of Gus Lopez's collection when I first started in 1995, and I was very thankful that he shared it with me. And there was no way I could keep up with what he had going on. And when I look at Trey's collection, and I see that he actually does AFA 12 packs and AFA up through like the first 20 or something.
I'm almost all Empire.
So what's that?
Star Wars through Empire.
How many is that?
32 back.
32?
Yeah, 40.
So 32 to 40 AFA rated figures.
Right.
The only AFA rated figures I have are the ones I bought in a lot, and I didn't even want them AFA rated, but that's the way they are. So that's a big difference that we have there. But keeping up with the Joneses, I don't try to keep up with what when he comes over with a figure, and it's AFA rated. I don't care. Like I don't care that he bought an $1,100 figure. I get the same figure for $100. It makes me happy. But then again, I'm getting it on the Jedi card versus the Star Wars card. Mine's a little bit beat up. In fact, he probably 30 of the figures on my wall I got from Trey, and he said they just weren't good enough for him. They were his beater. What do you call it? Your beater box?
They're my beater figures in yellow. Yes, I have certain standards. I'm picky, extremely.
That goes right into the next number 4, quantity versus quality. So, what do you have to say about quantity versus quality in this?
Mike used to be a quantity collector, and I've always told him that, and I'm more of a quality. Mike would rather have 50,000 Jetfires than to have one sealed in the box. And I'd rather have sealed in the box, but I don't really collect Transformers. But that's just a reference, you know.
Yeah, so I would go after pretty much anything I could, as cheap as I could, as long as I could, and then now I've got so much that, and I'm looking at the value of it's not that high because of the quality, because it's not that great of quality. And you'll see I even show some of my stuff. You see the paint wear, you see missing parts and pieces and this that. As opposed to Trey, on the other hand, when he liquidates his collection, since it's all complete and very, very good condition, you get a hefty price for it, right?
Right. Yeah, but that's not why I collect, though. I don't collect for the money. It's just to relive my childhood, a toy at a time, is all.
And that's true. That's what collecting should be.
And I'm not into Transformers and Joes because that's not my generation of toys. But I mean, I was around when Joe came out and the flag and all that. But that's just not my generation of toys. So
I'm kind of switching into the quality mindset nowadays. And
now with the new retro collection.
So the next thing I want to talk about is kind of the showboating. And with the last 9 months, I spent a lot of time on the Facebooks and the YouTubes, the Instagrams and the Twitter, and not so much on the last two. But I kind of see someone pop out and show a collection, and they just started collecting, and they're proud of it. And then right below it, there's someone throws a picture of a gigantic, massive collection and showboating their stuff. And I see that all the time. And I don't know, you're really not online that much and looking at that, are you?
No, not at all.
So you're not really involved in that, but you do see people showboating their collection?
Yes, I do.
And you know, one of those things is, for you and I mean, we don't really care. But to the new person starting out, it's kind of intimidating. And it's like, how would you feel if you just started out right now collecting?
I would just be like, I'm never going to collect all this stuff. I don't have the money or the means. I mean, it's overwhelming, your house and mine.
Yeah, but just like looking on eBay, and like if you want to buy, if your budget's $500 a month for toys, which is actually a huge budget in my opinion.
Oh yeah, extremely.
If it's $500, but you don't get much for that these days, do you?
No, everything's just gone up. I mean, if you're starting to collect now, then you're in sad shape. You should have been collecting in the '90s or '80s.
So that makes it sound like like the retro collection's a good idea, then, right?
No. Still not a good idea.
It's kind of a double-edged sword on that retro collection, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the last point I want to talk about is speculation. So I know that I have bought a lot of things, and I pretty much buy what I like. And if sometimes I buy 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And what will you chime in on speculation here?
I'm not that great at it. You're really good at it. You do your research. I mean, you speculate on Masterpiece Transformers, and you know I'm not into Transformers, but you do a lot of speculation on what the market's going to do. You just speculated on the bars.
I did. What I did do is I would buy a couple of extras. And I saw that back in with the Transformers back in '07, where you buy a $7 figure in the Classics line, and it's selling on eBay a year later for $50. And it made me want to start buying more and not leaving those gaps, because if I decide to buy it down the road, I was thinking I don't want to pay $50 for a $7 figure. And so I started buying a little bit more and not letting missing out on those deals. But what it's kind of left me in is figures I was on the fence about. I would buy them anyway, and those figures really don't go up in value or anything. And so then I'm sitting with extra figures I really don't care about. So that's kind of what happened to me in a way. But the things I really like, of course, they sell well.
Yeah, of course. And that's what I do, is I buy what I like. I mean, if I like it, somebody else has got to love it, I'm sure. I mean, in that way, if I'm stuck with it, I love it anyway, so I really care if I get rid of it.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it, too. I mean, and I collected, for me, for a long time. I didn't actually sell any of my stuff until like 2016. I started selling my excess just to buy more stuff.
No, you would never sell anything.
Yeah, but I just recently started. And who got me involved in selling some stuff on eBay?
I did.
Yeah, and so what else do you collect, Trey?
I collect vintage bicycles, BMX, banana seat bicycles. I collect cars, real cars. I collect Hot Wheels. I collect all kinds of stuff.
But
Mego action figures.
But you don't collect
Star
Transformers?
Wars. I don't do Transformers.
You don't do Joe?
G.I. Joe.
Oh, okay.
I come across it, though.
Well, Trey, thanks for coming over and having a little discussion with me. I really appreciate it. And I hope all of y'all enjoyed this discussion. And Tiberium Hanger, out.